CTV Edmonton, local breaking news with Miriam Valdez-Carletti.
We promised to improve policing in the province so that it works better on the streets and behind the scenes. And we did that because Albertans deserve to feel safe no matter where they live.
The province is moving forward with its own police force. Premier Danielle Smith says it will be eventually called the Alberta Sheriff's Police Service and will complement the RCMP and other police agencies, not to replace them. Good evening. Public Safety and Emergency Services Minister Mike Ellis says the new service will improve safety and close gaps, especially in rural communities. He says when Albertans call 911, they expect someone to show up regardless of their uniform.
I have heard horror stories right across rural Alberta when it comes to shortages within detachments. I've spoken to First Nations, Métis communities who have complained about their current contract service provider and the lack of police presence in their communities. With that being said, we need to be ready for the future of policing in Alberta.
The current RCMP police service agreement with provinces and territories expires in 2032. Ellis says it would be negligent on his part to not explore alternative options to RCMP. The Premier says more than 80% of Albertans are currently served by municipal police. CTV's public safety analyst, Chris Lewis, says there's more questions than answers.
If the RCMP don't have enough officers, for example, to cover a zone on a particular night or weekend, do they call the sheriff department and say, okay, could you guys look after it? Who notifies them? How do they report on it? What are they trained to do? Because traditionally they do court security and they do traffic enforcement.
Ellis says current vacancy rates for the RCMP are about 20% in Alberta. The Premier says recruiting for the new service won't be a challenge as many applicants want to stay local. There's no exact date of when boots will hit the ground. And the service will be based in Calgary with Chief Sat Parhar as the lead. He has more than 25 years of police service, including as a deputy chief with the Calgary Police Service. And two independent MLAs want to revive the old Progressive Conservative Party. The UCP booted Peter Guthrie and Scott Sinclair from caucus earlier this year for pushing back against the government. The PCs were in power for 44 years before the NDP won in 2015. Sinclair says the two-party system has become too divisive. They want support from Albertans who feel they don't have a political home. A Leduc man has been charged with child luring, and police believe there may be more victims. Alberta law enforcement response teams arrested 49-year-old Campbell Ferguson last week. He is facing 27 charges, including making child pornography. Police allege Ferguson was using Snapchat to lure victims to meet in person to perform sexual acts. The investigation started in April after a teenage girl confided in a counselor. Alert says investigators have identified 6 victims so far. It says it has yet to identify people in some of the images and videos found on seized devices.
We want to encourage them that they're not to blame in this situation, that they are victims here, that they will be met with empathy and compassion when they do come forward.
Alert says Ferguson had several aliases, including Berkshire 2025, Devin Houston 25, Keenan Headstrom, and Tylee Lease 2424, or by his pseudonym Burke. Edmonton City Councillors are expecting to get another earful tomorrow about Infill. After a full day of public hearings Monday, more than 100 people have registered to speak on the topic at City Hall tomorrow. Infill advocates say the city needs to encourage density that looks good. CTV's Jeremy Thompson reports.
A central neighborhood with bus routes and local businesses, Ritchie is already a hotspot for skinny homes. Even the school has been redone recently with an infill aesthetic. But ever since new zoning rules kicked in 18 months ago, a different kind of infill is popping up.
It looks like a regular home, like a single-family home, but yet it's housing 6 families. I'm one of them.
Sam Rad believes this is the future of multi-unit infill. He lives in one of 2 garage suites, sharing the property and amenities like a sauna with the 4 tenants in the main building. He was at City Hall Monday as Edmontonians voiced some infill support and a lot of concern.
I think it boiled down to don't build a massive 40-foot wall next to my house.
Infill advocates say builds like this and the nearby 8-plex demonstrate it can be done in a way that blends in.
Council needs to be laser focused on how do we build more homes in the places that people want to live, not on reducing the amount of homes that we can build in the places that people want to live.
Councillor and mayoral candidate Tim Cardmell has called for a pause on mid-block infill until more public consultation can be done. But Monday evening, a city lawyer said doing so would violate provincial law.
I think Part 2, Mr. Mayor, would have the effect of contravening the Municipal Government Act, and so likely would be out of order.
I just want to be really clear that it was not legal that found it out of order. It was not an illegal motion. It had the potential of legal challenges.
Council will debate some changes to infill rules Thursday to do with building size, space between buildings, and maximum units allowed mid-block. Before council can vote, the public will have its say. More than 100 people have signed up to speak. Jeremy Thompson, CTV News, Edmonton.
The city will charge you less this winter if you fail to move your car during a parking ban, but it's also expecting to ticket and tow more people. The city is reducing the cost of a ticket for failing to move from $250 to $150. If you pay the ticket within a week, the cost goes down to $100. City Council is also paying for more tow trucks to accompany cleaning crews this winter. The mayor says the city needs to balance the inconvenience with the reality that roads need to be cleared.
Having vehicles parked when our plows are there, when our sweepers are out there, they do create inefficiencies, and the street doesn't look clean either.
Councillors say the city also needs to do a better job of communicating when parking bans take effect. $100,000 to pay for the changes will come from the council contingency fund. Edmonton has finalized a new collective agreement with ETS workers. It will give them a 3% raise every year for 4 years. The raise is retroactive to the end of 2023, when the previous contract expired. Bus drivers, maintenance personnel, and other transit workers will also get increased benefits, allowances, and more shift differential pay. Councillors say they're happy an agreement was reached before job action took place. They say the new agreement and increased safety measures will help reduce incidents on transit and make people feel safer.
I think that we're looking at a much better situation. I think we've turned the corner, and we're going to see safer transit. We're going to see better transit now.
The agreement is effective through December 2027. A former member of the Calgary Flames is joining the other side of a fierce hockey rivalry.
Yeah, it's going to be fun to participate in the Battle of Alberta again, obviously. I think this was just a great fit for me, and obviously Edmonton has, a great team, right? So I just want to come in here and play my game and just kind of help the team whatever way possible to win, and hopefully get them over the finish line this year.
Forward Andrew Mangiapane signed a 2-year deal with the Oilers worth $3.6 million a season. The 29-year-old scored 14 goals with the Washington Capitals last season after spending 7 seasons with the Calgary Flames. The Oilers also signed former Edmonton Oil King Curtis Lazar to a 1-year deal worth $775,000. He had 2 goals in 48 games with the New Jersey Devils last season.
I've always said it's nice to have some new faces to come into your group. They bring a bit of a different energy. Like, they weren't here last year when we made the push, and the year before. So I think they're hungry to get that far in the playoffs, and to be able to play in the Stanley Cup final.
Some familiar faces are heading to new teams. Connor Brown joins the Devils. Corey Perry is heading to LA. John Klingberg signed with the San Jose Sharks, and Victor Arvidsson was traded to the Boston Bruins for a draft pick. A defenseman with the Edmonton Oil Kings is one step closer to reaching his goal of playing in the NHL. CTV's Merrick DeCash spoke with the only Oil King selected in this year's draft.
2-on-1, shorthanded, Miller to the trailer, Fiddler, scores!
Blake Fiddler spent 2 full seasons in Edmonton patrolling the blue line for the Oil Kings. Over the weekend, the 17-year-old was drafted by the Seattle Kraken.
To finally get picked and have a team that trusts in you and believes in you is pretty special.
He was drafted in the second round, 36th overall. Seattle traded with Philadelphia, moving up 2 spots to make sure Fiddler was still on the board.
Obviously, we've drafted a lot of forwards over the last couple of years, but to get a player of Blake's pedigree, the size, the skating ability, it was a situation where we felt we wanted to move up and grab that.
The 6'4", 209-pound blue liner was the captain of Team USA at the Under-18 Hlinka Gretzky Cup tournament, and he's coming off a stellar season, having led the Oil Kings in points among defensemen with 36. At the moment, he's in the middle of his first NHL development camp.
I didn't know too much about Seattle, but we went to the Space Needle or whatever yesterday, and we got to go see downtown, and we're going to the Seahawks stadium today, and the facilities here are unreal.
His name may sound familiar to hockey fans. His father, Vernon, played 15 seasons in the NHL, most notably for Dallas, where Blake was raised.
To keep the game moving, he fell, he works in, he scores!
Yeah, definitely being around him and all the NHL guys really helped me. I think just being around the lifestyle, living the lifestyle from a young age, you kind of see what it takes.
Fiddler will likely spend this upcoming season in the Western Hockey League.
I want to come back to Edmonton, and I want to win.
Merrick Takash, CTV News, Edmonton.
Edmonton has a new poet laureate tasked with sharing the story of our city through words.
It's just an incredible gift to be able to get to this time in my writing and creative life, to be able to represent Edmonton in that sense, and then to continue to foster what fostered me.
Medjean Mathurin was born in Haiti. 19 years ago, she moved to Edmonton and discovered her love for poetry. Through her art, she shares her story as an immigrant, a woman with chronic illness, and provides a voice for marginalized communities. In her new role, she will bring poetry into a range of official and informal events for the city. Mathurin will serve as the 11th Poet Laureate for the next 2 years. 5 Alberta swimmers will hit the water overseas while donning red and white. The group was selected to represent Canada at the Commonwealth Life-Saving Championships. As Tyler Barrow explains, the 5 make up a significant portion of Team Canada.
It's training time for Cochrane water ninja Jack Dunza. The 18-year-old is getting ready to represent Team Canada at the Royal Life-Saving Society's Commonwealth Life-Saving Championships.
I'm super pumped to be here. It's been a long training session to get to this point, but I'm super excited.
He will be joined by 4 other members from the Water Ninjas. The quintet is looking to make a splash at the competition in Wales from July 8th to 13th, going up against the sport's top athletes from Commonwealth nations.
It's just so much fun to get to bond with all these athletes who love the sport as much as you do.
Really excited, especially with 4 other of our teammates.
The 5 will compete in events like mannequin tow, line throw, and relay races. The sport encourages participation in life-saving activities while further developing life-saving practices. The athletes competed in the 2025 Alberta and Northwest Territories Pool Life-Saving Championships in Calgary. That was one of the competitions Team Canada used in their selection process. A total of 20 athletes cracked Canada's roster. With a quarter coming from the Cochrane Water Ninjas, it shows that even if it's wet, iron still sharpens iron.
It's absolutely incredible. I think it shows to the skill and the work effort that we as Water Ninjas put in.
We just, being able to race against each other and train every single day really pushes us to be the best version of ourselves.
The group leaves for the Commonwealth Championships July 6th. Tyler Barrow, CTV News, Cochrane.
Coming up next, a free drop-in kids program returns to Edmonton for the summer. And also just ahead, tips on how to protect your kids from concussions.
I'm always worried, even for other kids, I'm worried.
I'm usually on my child like a hawk. I don't usually leave her side.
Good evening, folks. Hot, 32 degrees for a daytime high in Edmonton today, and then across a lot of areas in central and northwestern Alberta, stormy. In fact, even a tornado west of Drayton Valley early in the afternoon. We'll take a closer look at that and talk about the big cool down on the way for the next couple of days in just a few minutes.
The province is facing calls to bolster its flu shot campaigning next season. This flu season saw the least Albertans get vaccinated since 2009-10, with 29% of people getting a shot. 235 people have died from the flu this year. One local pharmacist says over the past 3 years, she's given fewer flu shots. She believes that's because of misinformation around vaccines and from people being tired of hearing about vaccines.
We saw the lowest uptake of flu vaccine that we had seen in decades, with a 4% reduction over previous years. So it is a drastic decline that we do need to see additional support through Alberta Health Services to showcase and highlight the importance of receiving the flu vaccine, especially with a lot of that vaccine apathy happening around.
The province says declining influenza vaccination rates are being observed across the country and are not unique to Alberta. It says planning for the 2025-2026 respiratory virus season is in progress. Alberta Health Services is warning of potential measles exposures at the Grey Nuns Hospital. AHS says a person who was infectious was at the hospital between 8:30 a.m. and 4 p.m. last Wednesday through Saturday. They were also at the Grey Nuns between 3:50 and 7 a.m. on Sunday. The exposure warnings come as another case of the measles was recorded in the Edmonton zone. That brings the total number of cases here to 10 since the beginning of the outbreak. The Edmonton case is one of 9 new cases. There are now 1,169 cases across the province. School's out and many neighborhood playgrounds are full. The busier they are, the higher the risk for bumps, falls, and concussions. CTV's Sasha Petramala reports on what to watch out for.
1, 2, 3. Summer is in full swing at this local Twilliger playground. These kids are carefree, but their parents are close by and aware of concussion risks.
I'm always worried, even for other kids, like I'm worried.
I'm usually on my child like a hawk. I don't usually leave her side.
Cody Isaac, owner of Isaac Physiotherapy, says she sees an increase of youth patients walking through her door this time of year.
The sports change, for sure. The activities change in the summer from the winter. A little bit more rough and tumble, a little bit more out there.
According to Alberta Health Services, 70% of concussion injuries in children are from falling.
It's a perfect way for a child to slip and fall and bang their head as well. And I've seen that happen many times as well. Just kids are falling all over the place on these hard surfaces.
Concussion symptoms in young children are subtle and harder to diagnose.
Parents are really good at picking up whether the child is feeling well or not. They don't always know why, and their first reason might be, well, they might have a flu, or they might not be feeling well for a reason, and they might not put it together with what happened on a playground.
AHS says to look out for lingering headaches and changes in behavior, including how your child plays, eats, or sleeps. If you are not sure, seek professional help.
Parents can make sure that they're not saying, oh, well, we'll just wait and see. Get the assessment. Be sure one way or the other.
Playing safely does not mean sacrificing fun.
I want everyone to be able to engage and be able to engage safely.
Just be very hands-on with what they're doing, right?
Sasha Petramala, CTV News, Edmonton.
Green shacks across the city are bringing free entertainment to neighborhoods all summer long. Throughout July and August, Green Shacks will host a variety of family-friendly performances and live concerts. The Edmonton Arts Council hopes these events will inspire young Edmontonians through cultural expression and art. Performers include the Brass Tactics, Métis Jigging, and Caribbean Dance and Games.
So anytime we can inspire the youth and get them into music or any kind of, arts is big on what we do.
Performances and live concerts will be 5 days a week at different Green Shack locations. Performances are at 11 and 2:30 p.m. Thousands of people packed the Alberta Legislature grounds for Canada Day celebrations. Visitors enjoyed plenty of music and entertainment yesterday. Many took advantage of the new water fountains at the legislature to also cool down. This was one of many different afternoon celebrations for families around the city and Edmonton area. After the break, a new dance studio helping learners let loose.
I'm kind of shy at school and not super out there, so representing Canada would make a super boost for me.
Programming brought to you by James H. Brown Injury Lawyers, the heavy hitters of injury law.
Welcome back. We mentioned the tornado west of Drayton Valley. Wow, there it is. Thanks to Trenton for sending that in on Twitter, or X. I guess that popped up just after 5 p.m. west of Drayton Valley. No damage reports as of just yet, although it looks like it was probably over mostly unpopulated area, just some wooded area. 17 degrees for a morning low here in Edmonton, 32 for a daytime high this afternoon, and most of those severe storms kind of danced around the vast majority of the Edmonton region. Tomorrow, through the early morning hours, you may see a little scattered shower around the city or just off to the north. I think the best chance might actually be early afternoon. It'll pocket of some showers there potentially between Edmonton and Red Deer early afternoon. This is about 2 p.m. The vast majority of the shower and thunderstorm activity, though, once again, will be across northern Alberta, and skies will actually start to clear, it looks like, late afternoon into the evening hours tomorrow here in Edmonton. A lot cooler tomorrow compared to yesterday and today. Mid-teens across northeastern Alberta and here in Edmonton. 12 degrees for Red Deer and about 10 in Grand Prairie. 18s, 19s in through the Peace Country tomorrow. Low 20s in through the northeast. You still have some heat in the Medicine Hat region, but Red Deer goes from near 30 today to closer to 20 for a daytime high, and that's the case here in Edmonton as well. 32 degrees today. Highs of about 20 or 21 for Thursday, Friday, Saturday. Chance of a scattered shower. There might be an isolated thunderstorm between Edmonton and Red Deer. I think for the most part, that's going to be a shower, if anything, tomorrow here in Edmonton. Partly cloudy to mainly sunny skies for Friday. Saturday could see an evening shower or thunderstorm, and then temperatures start to heat up again next week. So you get a little bit of a break from the heat from Thursday through Sunday, and then we're right back into that 26 to 31 degree range for highs all of next week, and lots of sunshine next week as well. That is your forecast.
Alberta is now home to a new western lowland gorilla. New addition to the Calgary Zoo gorilla troop Johari arrived last week from the Toronto Zoo. It's hoped the 24-year-old female will be a breeding partner for the silverback in the Calgary Zoo's troop. The zoo says this could help conservation efforts for western lowland gorillas. The species is classified as critically endangered in the wild. Johari will need time to adjust to her new home, so it will be a while before she's visible to the public. Edmonton's newest dance studio is breaking barriers. New Roots Breaking Studio is a dedicated spot for breakdancers. As CTV's Nirman Issa reports, it's a safe space for breakers to be themselves.
Hunter Olson just learned about breakdancing a few months ago. Now the 12-year-old is letting loose on the dance floor.
I'm a different person in the studio. I'm not me, really. I'm B-Girl Bounty Hunter, so I'm a dancer and I'm confident.
Also new to breakdancing is 14-year-old Ben Tower. The two are getting lessons at the New Roots Breaking Studios in South Edmonton.
At first I was overwhelmed, wow, these guys are so good at this. I wonder if I'll ever get good at this. I feel like that every day I'm getting closer and closer to reaching that goal of being one of the big guys, you know?
The studio opened in April. The owner says he created this spot because breakdancing in public isn't always welcomed.
We just need a little open space for us to dance, but then, unfortunately, we always get kicked out. So having this space is really a blessing for all of us that want to continue and also start.
Breakdance involves using your entire body, from the quick foot movements to the arms helping defy gravity.
At first, when you see breaking, you're like, that's insane. How am I supposed to execute that? But I think it just starts with that first step of showing up.
It's like the closest thing to being a superhero, because not every day you see someone doing all these crazy moves. You can see the wave, but you won't see someone 15 seconds on one arm.
Breakdancing started in the 70s. It found its biggest audience yet, making its debut at the 2024 Summer Olympics. Canada's Phil Wizard won the men's gold medal.
I'm kind of shy at school and not super out there, so representing Canada would make a super boost for me.
Uplifting even when she's upside down. Naramisa, CTV News, Edmonton.
And that's our show for this evening. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have a good night.